Welcome back to the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast. Today is a bit of a different one, so by the time this is going out, it will be Halloween in a couple of days, and I thought it would be a good time to release the episode that I recorded with Hannah, who goes by the Ginger Empress on social media. Hannah is a makeup artist, and on her social media, she talks all things femininity, relationships, personal development, style, very spiritual and witchy, everything that's right up my street. She recently launched the Empress Collective, which is an online community of spiritual women, and the purpose is to bring like minded women together to feel empowered to talk about all spiritual and witchy things. She also holds in person events in this community as well. In this episode, we speak about single motherhood, we speak about paranormal experiences. I loved this spooky chat with Hannah, and I hope you do as well. Please hit the like button if you enjoy. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified when the next episode comes out. Hi, Hannah. So, thanks so much for coming on the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast. I know that online you're known as the Ginger Empress, and we'll get to that and why you started your social media account and what you talk about on there. But yeah, this is going to be a different type of episode because I just want to talk to you about all things femininity and spiritual and witchy stuff. And we've obviously had the conversation, we're quite similar. And that we're both single mums, and we kind of turn to spirituality to get us through tough times in life as well.
Yeah.
So do you want to take me back to, because you say you've been spiritual your whole life, you don't actually remember when it started, so do you want to talk me through childhood and your earliest memories of your interests and that kind of side of life?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't have like a starting point with it. So I just always remember picking up trinkets and crystals, and it's the family were not into that. There was nothing in my house that was like that. None of my friends or their families were like that, so I don't really know where it came from. But my earliest memories were seeing spirit when I was very young, and it wasn't always pleasant. But I think that's what kind of led me to want to dig into it deeper and just find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm. So you were curious about that then, about
Mhm.
obviously the spiritual side of life, and because I honestly think that it's in all of us. It's just
It
that
is. It
we're
is.
we get caught up in our humanness, and all the our general environment doesn't really nurture that side
Mm-hmm.
of us
Mm-hmm.
or of life either. So yeah, obviously you've just been curious about it and you've dove into that. So what kind of things were you into? You say crystals, sort of tarot cards, that type of thing,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
throughout your childhood?
Kind of all throughout, and I'm very interested in like the paranormal and supernatural kind of stuff. As I said, I've just always been susceptible to it, which I think children normally are. And I don't know about your children, but my daughter is definitely going through that just now as well. And it's because they're pure souls, and it's how open you are to delving deeper into that, and I was. So yeah, just tarot cards, oracle cards, aid cards. Very interested in like the angels and even like fairy and folklore kind of stuff. So yeah, mostly that.
So what was childhood like for you then? Because that is a bit alternative and different. I think nowadays it is becoming more normal, isn't it? And we're seeing,
Mhm,
crystal
mhm.
shops and spiritual shops are popping up everywhere, which is amazing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
back then, I think you're a little bit younger maybe, even 20 years ago, that kind of thing wasn't
yeah,
as
yeah.
mainstream. So
Mhm,
what was
mhm.
childhood like for you then?
Um, I was always pretty open about it and didn't realise that it wasn't the norm. And when I would say things to people or like, oh, there was ghosts in my room last night, or I was talking to whoever, they would be like, all right, okay. And I was just very much put down as like I had a wild imagination, and I was just a little bit, not in a bad way, but a little bit weird, and just always kind of seemed that way. And that was fine. I didn't really shy away from that. Um, and I think sometimes you kind of know who you can speak to and who you won't speak to about it. So yeah, but it was, I don't know if difficult would be the right word, but my family were quite shut off to the idea, or just like, no, there's nothing there, or like the noises are just the pipes, it's an old building. And it wasn't. And I feel like my sister had definitely, she's always accepted it, but she's definitely going into it now and seeing what it's all about, you know, becoming more spiritual herself. So that's good because then we can kind of show her what I like and what the universe is about, not that I know everything, but it can help someone else.
And I love that you just carried on and you didn't shy away from it because like you described yourself there as saying people just thought you were a bit weird, and we all have our quirky traits, and
Mm-hmm.
as children we all have something that's a bit different, which is amazing. But because you can express your weirdness and your like your spiritual side or whatever it may be, and people can shut that down. Children in the playground can laugh at you, or adults might say, oh, don't be so ridiculous, and then we shut down and we can suppress it. I love that you
Yeah,
didn't, and
yeah.
you just powered through and you didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah, for anyone listening who maybe can resonate a little bit about feeling like they were maybe a bit weird, maybe that will help. We do all have our little traits, but sometimes we can someone outside can shut that down and we suppress it. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ask how it helped you through your teenage years, because obviously tough times, all the challenges that teenage years bring. How did your spirituality help you through your teenage years?
Well, I grew up in a very chaotic household, and I was kind of forced to grow up very, very quickly. So I felt like I kind of often shut myself away. Like my bedroom was my little sanctuary, and I just really took kind of solace in being on my own and doing what I enjoyed doing, which was investigating the paranormal stuff, which was still all going on at this time. And I would say even amped up a few levels. I don't know if it's because I think that was more the kind of unpleasant kind of things. And that was probably because I was at a lower level of vibration, and it was inviting other things in. But again, it was some experiences were scary, but I still was so fascinated by it.
Can you tell us about a scary experience that you had?
Yeah, so I've always lived in old tenements in the city centre of Glasgow. Now I'm a new build and kind of near the countryside, so there's not as much going on. But I remember not long after we moved into a house when I was about 16 years old, I didn't know about mirrors being portals.
Right.
And well, yeah, so it can be like a portal into another universe and whatever else. And I've kind of recently discovered that I work with mirrors and that's how I can use divination that way. But I didn't know this background. So there was one night I couldn't sleep, never been a good sleeper. And I just felt like someone sitting down on my bed. And I looked, the mirror was across from my bed, which you should never do. There should never be a mirror facing your bed or facing you while you sleep. And I looked in the mirror and there was a girl just sitting beside me. And I was like, didn't know what to do. I just froze. And she just got up. She had like a long kind of white dress on. She got up and she just walked out of the room, walked through the door. And I genuinely panicked because even though I had seen spirit before, dealt with it, it had never been that intense, or like the apparition had never been that strong and lifelike. So I ran into my mum's room and I was just like, I couldn't even explain what I saw. And I generally found that I had to like go in the room for about 2 weeks after that. But then I thought she didn't do anything. She was literally just there. And later on, I did a little bit of digging into the building and found out it was hundreds of years old and it had been an orphanage. It had been a kind of care facility for the elderly. So there was a lot of activity in that area, and I dealt with experiences with children, very, very small children, handprints on the walls, which could not have been anyone, because I was the youngest in my whole family, there was no children around, none of my friends or anything had kids, so I was in high school myself, so it was it was a lot of activity in that house.
And see, if you told me this like 5, 10 years ago, I would be really skeptical. But I've had, since I went down my spiritual path, I've experienced this and heard other people's stories as well. And like you say, it's about frequency because everything is energy, and you can, whatever frequency you're on. So if you're angry, fearful, you're going to be on a low frequency.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you're tapping into happiness and love, you're going to be on a higher frequency.
yeah,
And then external energies will be drawn to you. That's why they talk about the law of attraction and manifesting and all of that. But yeah, I remember having a conversation with someone who was an alcoholic, and she was telling me that she could feel something in her room, but she just knew. She was in bed that night and she just knew something was in her room, and she couldn't sleep. She felt really scared and uncomfortable, and she opened her eyes and there was this sort of bad energy, demon, something.
yeah,
And I believed her, and I believed her that it was real, very real for her. It wasn't until years later when I went to a retreat, it was actually last year, and I came home from that retreat and I was in my room and I could feel an energy, and it wasn't a bad energy, it wasn't
yeah.
really anything specific, it was just the energy in my room was intense. And I won't go off into the experience I had, but honestly I felt so connected to a past relative of mine
Wow,
who I never even met. And I just felt, I didn't don't even know her name, still don't know her name, and but I knew who it was, and I felt her presence. And then of course a bag fell from my shelf, knocked on the floor, all my crystals fell off the shit. Oh, and it just confirmed to me, yep, I'm not going crazy here. This is very real. And then it just confirmed to me her experience for her was very real, and it's about frequency and energy.
and I can completely understand people that don't believe it because I get that it sounds crazy. Like, I know it does, but I can't discredit what I've seen and what I've felt. And I do feel like the kind of older I've gotten and probably the busier I've gotten, the less I do feel that. However, and I know I'm saying I live in like a new build kind of place, it's also the land that you live on. And I've found that, as I said, my daughter's kind of going through that just now. From our house, you can see a graveyard and a crematorium, which, yeah, is crazy. And there has been energies passing through there as well. And I've had other people confirm that and say, like, yeah, that spirit came from the graveyard. They seen the house was like a kind of warmth and light, and they wanted to and come in from the cold. So even though it can be unsettling, I've learned how to kind of get, like, if I don't want them there, then I know how to send them on their way.
And they'll be drawn, maybe you were drawn to go and live there, and they'll be drawn to your energy as well. Like you say, if you're experiencing certain entities, even though they're not doing anything, they're not scary, they're just obviously drawn to you. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about, you going on social media and the community that you wanted to create, because you did want to create something around spirituality,
Mhm.
but also, you love you are a makeup artist, you love your makeup and your style and your femininity. So you kind of brought all of that together. So do you want
Mhm.
to talk us into how did you create the Ginger Empress and social media? How did that all come about?
So I've always been a makeup artist. That's what I did kind of when I left high school in 6th year, and never wavered from that. But I feel like even though I don't speak about it really on my makeup page anymore, it's literally just kind of makeup now, and that's fine. There was something telling me that I had to create something else to put that out there. So it was going around in my head for a while, and I just thought I need to create another page for all of these other thoughts that are going on in my head. And that's where I created the Ginger Empress. And I didn't really have an idea where it was going, which is unusual for me. I normally have like a goal in mind and I do it, but I didn't have anywhere really to take it. But I just thought I'll go with it, see how it goes. And it started attracting the people that I wanted to attract into my life. Um, because I do have quite a small circle anyway, and I love my friends to death, but they're not really into any of this, and that can be difficult. So it was hard to kind of, or it was um, easy to attract the people sorry that you wanted to attract in because I was put out there. And then I decided to talk about femininity because that's something that I'm really interested in, really passionate about. And um, even going down like the style route and relationships, all that kind of thing. It was just something that I wanted to talk about. And now I do feel like it's taking another path, like with the Empress Collective. Um, and I'm trying to still figure out what I'm doing and who I am and what I want to do with my life's purpose. But I genuinely believe that I found that with the Empress Collective.
Before we talk about that, I just wanted to say, it's funny you say that you just knew you had to put it out there and get your social media up to attract other women that were similar to you. And I did the same with my social media. So I had no intention of going down this line of work, the mindfulness and the NLP that I do. Just, it must have been 5, 6 years ago. I just knew I wanted to start an Instagram page and start posting all the motivational stuff that was helping me on my own journey at the
Mhm,
time.
mhm,
And then, like you say, it started to attract like-minded people, and that wasn't really I didn't know what my intention was. I just knew
mhm,
it was like
mhm.
an outlet for me.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
also just wanted, like, I felt amazing by all the inspiration I had around me, and I wanted to share that and hopefully inspire other people. And then, of course, people are drawn to that,
yeah,
and you start meeting people who are on similar journeys. So I think for anyone listening as well who thinks, I'd love to start that, but I don't really know what to do with it, just do it. Just
yeah,
take,
yeah.
and then it might, end up taking on a life of its own that really serves you well. So
Mhm,
yeah, I
mhm,
think that's good that you've mentioned that you didn't, because we can have goals and that, but that's not always the way. Sometimes we just
mhm.
need to take that little step and see what happens.
And it's led me to become friends with people that I hold dear to my heart now, and I can talk about what I'm interested in, and they get it. So I feel like definitely if you're thinking about doing something like that, it doesn't have to become a business or even be something that you're on constantly. It's taking away that pressure because that's what I feel I've put on myself from the age of like 17, 18. Everything needs to be a business or be something that I'm trying to make of it. And that's great, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be an outlet.
if you're looking for your soul tribe, I think, and you've got something that you feel is maybe a bit quirky, or something, a hobby that you have that you maybe haven't expressed, and just get on social media, or any platform, anything, and or create events, even better, and then you can all meet in person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say, just like you say, it doesn't need to be a business. It can be about connecting with people who are similar to you, and by sharing your own story and your own vulnerabilities, you will attract those people as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So how did the Empress Collective, which is your membership, so do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's very new. But again, it was running around in my head probably for the best part of like a year and a half. And the name kept on coming to me during meditations and um, dreams and stuff like that. So I was like, something's happening with this, and I have to do something with it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to secure the handle on Instagram just in case. And I'd went, done that. And then I kind of thought, what am I waiting for? Like, I'm very much a perfectionist, and I'm always waiting for something to be right or to be perfect before I do it. And I just thought the whole point of this is to wing it and see where it goes. So just go and start posting. So I did, and see within the first few days, I think I had, which wasn't a lot, but I think I had like 40 followers on it. But again, I was like, that's 40 people that I've brought to this page. I'm not even really looking for it to be this massive thing. Obviously, that would be great, but that wasn't my intention. It was to create a small group of people, an intimate group of like women, and who can talk about what they practice, talk about what they enjoy, what they like doing, without any judgment or people rolling their eyes and saying like it's a lot of rubbish, doesn't work. So that was where it came from, and we've kind of spoke about this as well. That when I had my daughter, it's a lonely time, and then going through a separation, it's finding those, it's finding the circle that you resonate with, and that genuinely just sets your soul on fire, because you don't have the same time and energy for the things you used to.
Hmm. And you talk about, you want to help women awaken the Empress within them. What does that mean?
So we all have that. And I feel like today's society is not, it's not really seen as the place for actual femininity and embracing the femininity, also embracing the masculinity, because again, we all have that as well, but we literally have feminine energy flowing through, and it's so often repressed in favour of what whoever is telling femininity is, and it's being like the boss aspects and being all these things, like you need to be the working mum or don't have children at all, or being more cold and distant than we've ever been. But we're always having to talk to people on social media and having to do all these things. You can't keep up. So for me, to awaken the Empress, it's literally just getting back to your roots, getting back to who you genuinely are and not who you've been told to be, and embracing whatever makes you happy. If it is being a mum, like if you just, I don't even like saying just want to be a mum because it, it's everything, but if you just want to be a mum, or you want to be a housewife, or you want to be a big career woman and you want to have your own empire, all of these things are absolutely fine, but it's doing what you want to do and not judging other people for what their choices are.
Hmm. And I always say, like, because I talk a lot about goals, and a goal doesn't need to be anything big and grand.
Mhm.
It can be that you want to feel fulfilled or content, or you just want to find your life partner. That's a goal as well. Or you want to call in your friendship, your soul sisters, that type of
Mhm.
thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think you're like you say, it's not about listening to what's expected of us or what society,
Mhm.
ticking the societal boxes. It's actually tapping into what do you want. And if
Mhm.
being a mum,
Mhm.
stay-at-home mum, that's amazing if that's fulfilling you.
Definitely, and I've definitely fell into that trap as well before. And when I was at college, kind of all I spoke about was all of my goals and ambitions, and I was going to get here and I'm going to do this. And I also didn't think that I was going to have a family, and so I wasn't even that fussed about it. But I didn't think that was going to happen until I was maybe in my 30s. And then I fell pregnant at 23. And that was a massive shock, but it genuinely completely changed my direction. But I feel like that was what was meant to happen, and it set me on the path that I had to be on.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of the opposite. I just wanted to be a mum always throughout my teenage. Honestly, if I could have had a baby as a teenager, I probably would have. That's all I wanted was to be a mum, and I had my son at 27 and my daughter at 28, which my second pregnancy was a shock, but I was so happy. It was just, I feel like it all flowed and worked out perfectly. And I've been a single mum since they were toddlers,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
been the best journey. People say, oh, it must be so hard, and I'm like, I don't feel like it is.
Mhm. Mhm.
We've had the best time. They're 9 and 10 now, and
Mhm.
I just feel
Mhm.
like I look back and I treasure that time being a single mum.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the twenties of it right now. She's 3. She is wild. And she is the most amazing wee person, and she's definitely been here before. There's no doubt about it. But she is very, very strong minded, very stubborn, which is all things that I love and hope she continues to carry with her her whole life. But yeah, when you're getting the brunt end of it,
I know
all the time,
my daughter's the
it's
exact
difficult.
same traits, and oh my god, I have my moments and my days, but I wouldn't discourage.
No, no.
She's a diva. She is very strong minded, and I wouldn't do anything. I'm very aware of what would happen and how she would grow up if I, you know,
Yeah,
did anything
yeah.
to touch those traits. I think they're
Hmm.
great traits
Hmm.
to have as a female or a male. So
It definitely is. And I feel like I have to remind myself sometimes that she's trying to figure her life out. And sometimes I am as well. This is my first time being a mum, and I've never been where I am right now. So we're figuring it out together and we'll get there. But there's no bond like it. There really isn't.
and so can we go back to the Empress Collective and how what you want to do with this, because I'm in your little membership, and what do you want, because I know you're based in Scotland and you're holding events in Scotland, but can anyone join?
Yeah, they can join. And again, I'm not really too sure what the end goal is, but I just feel like this is the right thing to do. So we had our first event on the Blue Moon last month, and it went really well. It was a small group of people, and it was held in my lovely friend Julie's cabin. It was just she's a massage therapist, so the energy's just lovely. We held it in there. It was really nice. We done a wee ritual, we done a meditation, and then we just sat and spoke for. I think we went an hour past the time, and it was just lovely. So I would love to do more of those, and even we could do it on a bigger scale and hold more events in the future. Who knows? It could go nationwide. We don't know. But yeah, it's more just about that and bringing people together and just opening that door that you're not alone in this. And there's so many of us that want to make new friends and just connect with other people because it's so important.
Mhm. Yeah. Just like you say, like-minded people who maybe feel like you, that your
Mhm.
friends don't have the same interests, but there are people out there. And I know that because I run the Soul Sanctuary in Glasgow, and sometimes people say, I'd love to come along to your event, but I don't want to come on my own.
Yeah,
And I say,
yeah.
most people that come on their own, and by the end, you're all friends.
I think again, I do think it's really good to go on your own as well because then you're literally there. You're present with everyone and you're more willing to speak to people and it can be a little bit daunting. I've been on that side of it as well. But you'll be more likely to make new connections because you don't have your friends to fall back on.
Yeah. And then it's a feeling of accomplishment in the end, and it builds your confidence. And it's actually
Definitely.
not as scary as you anticipate.
It's not because everyone's there for the same thing.
So what else then? Because you are a makeup artist, and we were talking about small. We both hate small talk, but obviously, and you were saying with your job, you actually attract people who you can have those kind of deeper conversations.
I
So
feel like that's only sorry. I feel like that's only happened in the last couple of years. Because obviously when you're trying to establish a business, you get a whole mix of people from the start. And I feel like when I also worked in retail, your small talk is just, you can switch it on. And that's a great skill to have. However, now I'm literally, just a makeup artist, like this is my job. And I feel like even though I don't post really on my makeup page about stuff like this, people feel your energy. And even if you just put it out into the universe, it's listening and it's bringing the people that should be around you towards you. So I feel like maybe even in the last year, I've started with clients that I just connect with and I can have those deeper conversations and you just leave or they leave feeling like they have just vibed with someone and they felt safe with you, which is all I can ask for. It's a massive part of my job as well. Like, yes, I have to make you look good and send you on your way to get a bed or make you look amazing for your wedding day. But it's about making someone feel confident and feel lighter and feel safe and it all rolls into one. And I feel like I've always had that kind of, I don't know if judgment would be the right word, probably is, but from when I was very young, I wanted to do hairdressing and beauty, and that was what I had my sights set on. And people would always say, you can do more than that. Like, go to university, go and get a real job, go and do all these things. And I could just never understand that because for me, it always went deeper than like the superficial. And I see that even more clearly now because people will tell you their life stories. And a lot of the time, you're hearing things that people have never, like even the closest friends and family have never heard. And you can be there for their pregnancies, their marriages, and then things like miscarriages or loss of loved ones. You're there for all of that. And I feel like it's an amazing part of my job, probably my favourite part of my job. And that's why when people say it's just makeup, it's just hair, it's just lashes or brows, it's not. It's absolutely not. It goes so much deeper than that.
And it's like going back to what we said earlier about just being allowing yourself to be vulnerable and showing your quirks, because then
Yeah.
they'll see that you're being real and they'll
Hmm.
feel comfortable to open up and talk to you,
Yeah.
and you know you'll attract like you say, it's only really the past couple of years you've attracted, it's like your dream clients because
Yeah.
they're attracted to you as a person.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Mhm.
that's encouragement for anyone.
It is. When I'm like during an appointment, it's not even as if I'm going to bring things up, but I'll start talking about cards or like crystals or whatever else. So I went to this wee market and people start to go, oh, right, so actually I do a bit of this as well, or I've always been interested in that, like, and you can then elaborate on it and either encourage someone to pursue it, or again, those people that do dabble in it or are fully fledged into it, they're like, oh my god, we can have a conversation about this. So it's really,
Yeah, I was just going to say it's funny how we feel like there's things that are socially acceptable, and it's like it is almost fate. You can go into a hairdresser's and you have the conversation, that's just socially acceptable. None of you are really being real and vulnerable, so it does feel like small talk.
yeah,
I'm all about. I want to know your soul. Tell me all
yeah.
your dark,
Um,
everything dark and
Tell
light
me
about you. I
childhood
want.
traumas.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to ask as well, Hannah. Like, obviously, you're doing like you've got you know your career, amazing businesswoman. You've got the Empress Collective, which is helping other people. What about for you? Is there something in the future you see that's just something that you'd love to do just for you, or a dream or a goal for you?
Um, I would really, I want to find a husband. I do, like, that's always been a dream of mine to find that person you're meant to be with. And, you think you've found it in other people and it's not worked out. And it's hard at the time, but you realise why it didn't work out or what was meant to come out of that relationship. And it's not, like I've not found the love of my life yet. And that's what I really want to find. And I want to create a home with that person, add to my family, and see see different parts of the world because and I know you don't have to rely on someone else to do that with, but I've never felt that kind of desire to travel. But I feel like when I hopefully find someone to spend my life with, that's what we can do together. So I think that's kind of my next thing, and I've got no rhyme or reason for it, but I feel like I'm on the cusp of finding that person. Again, no evidence to suggest that. But I genuinely feel as though they're going to come in and it's going to be right. I feel like I'm in the right space of mind for it. I'm exactly where I need to be, and they will come in when it's time. So I think that's probably the main thing. And again, adding to my family, I'd love to have more children if I'm blessed enough. And yeah, just create a life with someone. I think so. Well, I do feel like career wise, I don't have any big like long term goals. I used to want my own salon and all that. That's not a dream of mine anymore. And I'm happy with how it's progressing. And hopefully I can just do more weddings because that is where my passion lies with makeup. I love being a part of someone's special day. I love weddings, if you can't guess. So I'm happy with where that's going, and we'll see where the Empress Collective goes.
Well, thanks so much for sharing everything you've shared. Honestly, I think there's, like you say, you're putting yourself out there and all your little quirks. I love it. It's the best conversations. I could talk about this stuff all
Me
day.
too.
And I'm going to leave the link as well for anyone who feels drawn to check out the Empress Collective as well. All spiritual things, witchy things, and embracing your inner Empress. So thanks so much, Hannah, for sharing all of that. And I know we'll be chatting again soon as
Yeah,
well.
definitely. Thank you so much for asking me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I did say that it would be a bit of a different one today, bit more light-hearted, but a bit more spooky and paranormal than we would normally go into. But such a great conversation with Hannah. All details on how to contact Hannah or follow her on social media, including the Empress Collective, which, as she said, anyone is welcome to join. There are also in person events in the Glasgow area. If you're local and you want to come and hang out, then please do so. And remember and hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified when the next episode of the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast goes live.